In this video, I'll be going through all of the different Bleach PlayStation 2 games that were released. There's a total of 4 games that we'll be talking about. These were all released only in Japan, so if international fans wanted to play them, then you needed to have imported them in. So the first game we're actually going to be talking about is called Bleach Erabareshi Tamashii, which translates to Bleach the Chosen Soul. So we'll launch this game and have a look at the intro gameplay, check the controls out, and see whatever storyline is actually featured within it. Now, because these games are obviously in Japanese, I can only convey to you a limited amount of knowledge, so we'll be checking out the gameplay, seeing how accessible and enjoyable these games are, if they actually hold up to the test of time. Yeah, let's begin by launching the first game that we're going to be talking about. So this is Bleach the Chosen Soul, a Japanese only PlayStation 2 game that's based on the Bleach anime and manga. So this game was released in Japan on the 4th of August 2005. The intro song to this game is actually D-Techno Life sung by Overworld, which, as you know, is the second Bleach anime opening song. So I can only show you some of the opening or talk over it because of copyright reasons, but we'll see if there's any new animation featured here. Not really seen any of this. Ichigo's battle against Byakuya. Yeah, Bleach the Chosen Soul. Yeah, this is all original animation here. I've not seen any of this before. So I'll probably skip through all of the intro songs because you can check them out on YouTube, and I don't want to get copyright claimed on this video. There you go. Bleach Erabareshi Tamashii. So this features the return of the anime voice actors who actually voice all of their respective characters here. The game also does have its own generic background music, which isn't from the anime, so just go into new game. So this game is a beat 'em up game, and it can get very repetitive and boring from what I've heard. Features all of these cutscenes also. So we've got 3 modes here: mission select, state, and tutorial. So I'll just jump into mission select and see how the game is like. We'll jump into the first mission. So we've got characters to choose from: Ichigo, Orihime, Rukia, Uryu, and Chad. Obviously we're going to pick Ichigo, probably have Uryu accompanying us. Got a similar mechanic to Dragon Ball where you roll the joystick on the load screen. Okay, wow. This is janky. Okay, so squares to attack. You've got the ability to heavy attack with triangle. A little bit slower. Camera is really difficult to control. I think it's because it's not inverted, so it's pretty hard to get used to. I'm not sure how to change that control as well. So it's a beat 'em up game with all of these hollows that you need to take out. Wow. Upon first impression, the game has not aged well in terms of graphics. I'll say this a lot. There was an attempt here to make a Bleach game. There was definitely an attempt. I mean, some of the mobile games look much better than this. I mean, let's have a close-up of Ichigo's face here. Wow.
My whole world has changed.
Okay, so you've got a variation of different types of hollows. It's all the same enemy, really. Yeah, the game features a lot of running around and taking out hollows. There's not much variety to the gameplay. Okay, we've got a portal there. I think it was sealed until we defeated all of the hollows. Now we can get through it. Very repetitive and boring, to be honest with you. I'm just literally smashing square on my controller and doing nothing else. And you've got some accessories here as well. R1 is to block, heavy attack with triangle, normal attack with square. I think circle is somewhat of a special attack, so I can attack several opponents at once with circle. I think X is very similar to circle, where you can attack more than one enemy at once with X and with circle. There you go. Okay, and L1 is to dash. I can't really dash and attack at the same time. There's just so much of this. We've got so many of these enemies just to fight through. You can't really move on with the story until we've beaten them. I think every new stage you go to, your health in the bottom left corner replenishes. Wow, okay, now even bigger hollows. I think, are these the bosses for this stage? I did read that the bosses that you encounter here are no different than the actual normal enemies that you face off against. It is slightly difficult, but to be honest, we have enough health to see us through this fight. Even having a look at some of the scenery here, I mean, it is very true to Bleach. It's got the similar setting. Seems like the graveyard that Ichigo and his family went to during the whole Grand Fisher story arc. Cleared the first mission. Congratulations. How do we do? Probably going to be getting F ranking for this. B. Not too bad. We'll play a bit of mission 2 and then we'll move on to the next game. But as you can see, it's a very repetitive game that lets you take your anger out on hollows. So I know that some of the boss battles that feature within this game have some of the captains of the Gotei 13 or other additional characters from Bleach like Urahara and such. So the game doesn't actually have any of the characters Shikai or Bankai transformations. And yeah, like I said before, it's a perfect example of there was an attempt made to make a Bleach game. The quality of it is questionable. Yeah, so we're on the second mission. Again, exactly the same enemies. Nothing much has changed. It's these really low level, low tier hollows. I can't actually remember if these hollows featured within the actual anime or the manga. Really lazy, repetitive gameplay, I'll tell you, man. Not really seen any other type of hollow, just seen these two, one that flies and one that's on the ground. Again, what can you do? You can't complain. The game's from 2005. Like I mentioned, we've got mobile games that look much better than this now. Bleach, the chosen soul. The chosen soul who has to put themselves through this torment. So far, it's not looking good for Bleach games on the PlayStation 2. This is the first entry, remember? My god. Oh, this is never ending. They're coming out from this bloody portal. They're coming straight out of Hueco Mundo. Okay, we've cleared the stage and we can move on to the next part. The camera is terrible. Literally, and the controls with the camera really don't make it easy for you. Janky, terrible camera. If I had to give this game a rating, it's very difficult. It wouldn't make it over 5 out of 10. Exact same, you know, group of hollows. I wouldn't mind if there was some variety to the actual enemy, but it's just the same 2 character models repeated over and over again. I don't know the exact number of missions that this game has, but if this is the limit of the gameplay, then I feel sorry for anybody who spent, you know, any money on importing this, if you're a Bleach fan back in 2005. So this is Bleach, the Chosen Soul. We're going to move on to the next Bleach game now. The second Bleach game that we're going to be talking about is Bleach Hanatareshi Yabou, which is Bleach Unleashed Ambition. It's a little different to this game. Bleach Unleashed Ambition was released on the 16th of February 2006. It's a tactical adventure RPG game that features an exclusive side story, one that was not seen within the actual anime or the manga. So similar to the last game, the intro for this game features Bleach opening 3 from the anime, which is obviously Ichiro no Hana, sung by the band High and Mighty Color. So yeah, with this game you'll encounter characters from the original anime and manga, along with a lot of hidden and secret content that you can actually unlock. So it's an action adventure RPG game with an all original story. This is where my knowledge of the Japanese language is really showing off.
Subarashi. Quit speaking that fake ass Japanese shit. Nani?
So again, like with the last one, I'll show you some of the intro, but can't really show all of it because of copyright reasons. It is uploaded on YouTube if you want to see all of it yourself. So the intro for this game features scenes from the actual anime and scenes that were originally created for this opening in particular. So Bleach Unleashed Ambition, the first action-adventure RPG game of its kind. The second Bleach game on the PlayStation 2, released in 2006. So got a new game. So thankfully a lot of this dialogue is very easy to skip. We don't really understand it and it's probably just gonna repeat through the intro of the story, so we'll just skip through all of it. I'll tell you, at least the Ichigo's model looks a little bit better than that first game. So the gameplay in this one, you have up to 6 characters that can take part in battles. Thankfully a lot of that dialogue is really easy to skip. After doing some research, I did learn that the camera in this game is really bad. It features game original background music, so none of the music from the anime is returned. Apparently some of the music in this game is really annoying also, so let's just have a look at what we've got here to play with. We've got Ichigo's room here. To be honest, I think it's rendered quite well. I think they've done a good job here. A skateboard TV, Rukia hiding in there. Look at the bed. See the Quincy cross on the bed. Okay, let's have a look. Wow, they've rendered the entire house. I would really have been fascinated with this if I had this as a kid. So far, I've not got anything to complain about the game, but I've not really played through anything at the moment. Skipping through dialogue, really. Character models look good. The environment looks nice. It looks like Persona, but if it was Bleach. I'm gonna skip through all of it with circle. So we're finally in the game. So we've got a map here on the right. My god, check this out. I can't really move around the camera. It's in fixed position. What is this? These streets remind me of Katekyo Hitman Reborn. Looks like a lot of the hijinks that happened in the early episodes took place in these streets. And going to people's houses. Whoa! Ichigo breaking in. So you can go into actual people's homes. This little manhole. I wish this game was translated in some way. I wouldn't mind playing through an in-game exclusive story, no matter how bad it is. I'm sure it'd be better than sitting through the entire bound filler arc. What are these manholes? So let's check this house out. Udahana? Where's the gameplay? When can I actually fight someone? Let's just go to where they're telling me to go to. It doesn't help that you've got this really bad aerial view as well. From the music, it appears to be a lot of comedy within this game. If any of you played this and you know the story, let me know in the comments. Literally, the handle of the sword went through the guy's head. This is supposed to be a tactical adventure RPG. Where are the tactics? Okay, now I'm going back up here now. I was initially impressed when we were inside Ichigo's home there. We saw his character model in his room, but the actual map of Karakura Town here is just looks painfully bad. I'll play until we actually get to a fight. Okay, we've got a holo, finally. Gonna get some gameplay. Ichigo's in his Shinigami attire. Do we have to look for the holo? Don't know where on earth I'm supposed to be going here. Oh, not too bad you got a wider map now. So we're in South Karakura Town, now in West Karakura. This is really good. This is great for anybody who doubted that Bleach has world building. If this fight is terrible, I'm stopping. We're starting the next game after this, if this fight is terrible. They're really making me work hard to find this holo. Is it going to be like located in a park or something? Okay, like any RPG, we've warped into a battle screen. Let's go. It's turn-based attack. This is Final Fantasy VII. With the sword as well, Ichigo's just cloudier. especially with Ichigo's like oversized Zanpakuto. Alright, first enemy defeated. If this is the limits to this game, so obviously it's got a story taking place, which I don't understand. It's got janky ass graphics. Character model for this Ichigo looks better than the first game, so I'll give it that. Yeah, that was a terrible fight. I give it a solid attempt to play this game, but it's not aged well in terms of graphics, in terms of gameplay, and I don't really understand the story. If it was one thing, if I understood the story, I'd play through it. But so yeah, that was Bleach Unleashed Ambition, released in 2006. Not much more else I can say really. If you want to check the game out, it's there. At least check the opening out. Opening looked pretty cool. Now we're going to be moving on to a series of games called Blade Battlers. Now I like to refer to the Bleach Blade Battlers games as the better half of the Bleach PlayStation 2 games. So these are a series of 3D cel-shaded fighting games. These are only available on the PlayStation 2, only released in Japan, featured the original anime voice actors. So there were 2 games released for the Bleach Blade Battlers series. So the first game, Bleach Blade Battlers, was released on the 12th of October 2006. This game features 23 playable characters, some of which can be unlocked later. So the Blade Battlers games actually feature an extensive battle mode, where you can unlock more of these characters that I'd mentioned, which is through beating several different challenges. Some of the missions you have to perform under certain circumstances, such as time limits. Okay, I have some hope for Blade Battlers. So the gameplay of Blade Battlers is similar to Smash Bros. In that you have up to 4 players taking part in a arena brawler. Now, these games are much more fleshed out than the first 2 that we spoke about. So yeah, let's begin by going into the battle mode and getting a feel of this game. So you've got 5 characters to choose from, similar to the first game, Chosen Soul. So we'll go with Ichigo, and we'll face off against Uryu, I guess. We'll fight outside Ichigo's house here. What's up with his eyes? Okay, at least you can jump in this game. That's a plus. Square attack. Triangle appears to be a heavy attack. Oh, at least I can actually attack while jumping in the air. Okay, I can block with R1. We should have really blocked that. Oh wow, okay. This is fun. Damn, really high double jump. If I had this as a kid, I'd have had a lot of fun with this. This is already better than those first 2 games. So now we'll try a situation where it's 2-on-2. Me and Uryu versus Chad and Rukia. Okay, let's go. Okay, now we're getting a real feel of the game here. 4-player arena brawler. This is very similar to Smash Bros. Wow, this is a lot of fun. God damn it, Chad. Ooh, now if only he was that powerful within the anime. You can tell Chad grew up to be a boxer. Look at his fighting stance. Oh, Chad's got a special attack. Oh my god. Seems like a power-up, okay, more than a special attack. I recommend this game. This is fun. I just want to take Chad out. That's the binding spell that Rukia used in the first episode. Get ready for this. Oh, sick. Oh god, no. Chad is the underdog of this game. God damn it. What a piece of shit. Okay, this game is a little difficult. You know what? This would be so much fun to play with friends. If you had 4 of you around and you just play this back in the day. Oh, wave of Getsuga Tensho there. Have we taken out Rukia? Okay, 2-on-1 against Chad. Alright, we're gonna deal with him. Come on, Chad. Breakout. Done. That was pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. So this game actually features 23 playable characters, but the sequel to this, Bleach Blade Battlers 2nd, features a total of 36 characters with 16 stages and 3 modes to play through. So I'll play through the second game and actually get more of a feel of this Blade Battlers series. So this is Bleach Blade Battlers 2nd. It was released on the 17th of September 2007, so the most recent and final PlayStation 2 Bleach game. So there's quite a few different modes within this game. There's story mode, battlers mode, and free play mode. In this video, we'll just play through free play mode and get a feel of this game. It should be similar to the first one, I'm hoping. So again, original video animation with its own unique song. It's not using any of the anime opening music, so we can actually watch through this one. Some pretty cool original animation here. So Byakuya, Kinpachi, you've got Hitsugaya, the Espada. This is really cool, especially if you've never seen any of this before. Wow. Oh, it's your boy, Aizen. This is epic. Bleach Blade Battlers 2nd. Cool cover. You've got Ukiura, Grimmjow, Aizen, with Vizards on either side. Thankfully, this one has the English name above the Japanese.
ようこそ皆さん。
So, We can work our way through this. We'll go to free battle. Similar to the first one, you get to play in a 4-player arena brawler situation. So we'll have 2-on-2. Yeah, there you go. So from the onset of the game, you've got 14 characters to actually play with. So I'm going to be Ichigo here, and accompanying me will be Renji, and we'll just do Grimmjow, Yami. Wow, a few more stages to actually choose from. The first one you could initially only pick through 2, but this one you've actually got 9 stages to pick through. So we'll fight. You know what? Let's try the Soul Society. Let's see what's going on there. Wow, you got the Hell Butterfly. Renji's got some weird movement there. Character models are much better here. Let's go. Wow, Yami's big. This is an improvement from the first one. So it's literally just smashing square and triangle. I tell you, man, the Espada are not so bad after all, are they? Wow, okay. Now, I like these cutscenes. These are pretty fun. Sero. Okay, my special. There you go. Yo, this is cool. This is cool. Yeah. Okay, this game does have destructible environments as well. As destructible as PlayStation 2 can be. This is so enjoyable. Grimmjow. Yo, that's cool. This must have been before Grimmjow's second release. You've got the Menace Grande in the back there now, with a few Gargantas there also. Get Bankai again. Yo, that is sick. Oh, Yami's out. Okay. It's literally like Smash, where you smash them off the stage. Wow, me and Renji both in Bankai here. This is a fun game, man. 2-on-1 against Grimmjow. He's gonna regret ever asking for that rematch. Renji, what the hell? Okay, this game was worth putting myself through those first 2 terrible games. Breakout. That was so fun. This is such a good game. So, Bleach, Blade Battler 2nd takes the cake, man. Unlike the Bleach PlayStation 2 games that I covered in my last video, this game was thankfully released in English. Bleach Soul Resurrection, or as it's known in Japan, Bleach Soul Ignition, was released in Japan on the 23rd of June 2011, and its English release was released in the United States on the 3rd of August 2011. This game features the epic 13th Bleach opening Ranbu no Melody, which was sung by Sid as its intro song. However, the English localized version removed this song in favor of an instrumental song due to licensing issues. And speaking of the intro, it features an all-original animation that is definitely worth checking out on its own. Now, Bleach Soul Resurrection was developed by Resurreccion, who were the guys behind Bleach Blade Battlers on the PlayStation 2. We spoke about this in the last gameplay video, and the general premise behind this game is to fight through a large number of enemies in a hack and slash or beat 'em up gameplay style, in order to earn what is known as soul points. Soul points are earned in-game and can be used during the level up menu in order to learn new abilities and power up your characters. Now, this is done through a grid-based power-up system, and soul points are definitely rewarding and give the game an aspect of replayability. In terms of story, Bleach Soul Resurrection centers itself around the Hueco Mundo arc and the Fate Karakura Town arc, and it sees us play through 14 missions which carry the story from Ichigo entering into Hueco Mundo all the way up until Aizen is defeated in the Soul Society. Now, most of the missions follow a basic goal of working your way through the level, defeating small enemies until you reach a boss that needs to be defeated in order to clear the level. Story mode is fully voiced in English and in Japanese by the respective voice actors from the anime. Now, while the game does have some other modes besides story mode, like mission mode, soul attack mode, and collection mode, for this video I'll be solely focusing on the story mode. Now, there are 18 playable characters, which include Ichigo, Ukiura, Byakuya, Aizen, Kinpachi, and Uryu, just to name a few. And in general, before starting the game, its reviews are standing at around a solid 6 out of 10, with a Metacritic score of 58. Bleach Soul Resurrection has been extensively reviewed, and the general consensus is, if you're a Bleach fan and you know the anime and the manga, it's worth checking out. Otherwise, there isn't much to keep your attention if you're not a fan. Now, as with most games that are based on an anime or manga, this is the general sentiment. There isn't much really for casual gamers who aren't fans of the original source material. Let's see how the story mode adapts the source material. So story, play along and watch the main story unfold. Like I mentioned, there are 14 episodes here. It begins with Ichigo and company entering Hueco Mundo, and it takes us all the way until Aizen is defeated at the end of the Fate Karakura Town arc. Yeah, this is adapted all the way through these 14 playable missions within story mode. So we'll begin by playing with Ichigo and select normal difficulty. Before each mission, we do get a brief synopsis of the story here, but for people who are unaware of the Bleach story and are coming into this as casual players, you're not going to know much because you're literally starting off right at the middle of the Arrancar arc. So if you're a Bleach fan, by reading this intro, you'll understand where we're picking up from, and you'll get a good feel of the story mode. But
that if you're new to the world of Bleach, you're not going to know much. This may as well be written in a different language. Like, you're not going to know who Orihime is, who the Espada are, who Ukiura is. I think I saw an IGN review and the guy had only seen like 50 episodes of the anime, so just about the Soul Society arc, and he had no idea what was going on. That's because the events of this game are actually like episode 150 onwards. So yeah, you're not going to know what's going on if you've only watched 50 episodes of the anime. Bleach Soul Resurrection requires for you to have at least watched all of the anime of Bleach, or at least have gotten up to Ichigo defeating Aizen. So yeah, let's just skip through this introduction. Yeah, we've got some basic abilities, Getsuga Tensho, Shiretsu Hogeki. So what we'll do is we'll play through the first mission and get a feel of the controls and all of the gauges that are on screen. So a pretty nice touch. We've got running commentary as we're playing. It's not just Ichigo speaking, you've got, obviously he's accompanied by Chad and Uryu here. I love that touch. You get some running commentary while you're playing by the actual voice actors from the show. So cutting down the tree, I think these green things are called soul points that I was speaking about. So we can use these to level up the characters at the end of every mission. So yeah, squares for a basic attack, melee attack, press it multiple times to form a combo. Triangles for a spirit attack that consumes a pressure gauge. Now the pressure gauge is below the health at the top there, so that's the 3 blue bars. Obviously every time we press triangle, unleashing a Getsuga Tensho, it's consuming this pressure gauge, facing off against our first group of enemies. X to jump and square to attack, so we'll get rid of these with basic square attacks. It's a proper hack and slash beat 'em up game. After playing those PlayStation 2 games, I generally have a lot more appreciation for the graphics that are on display here. I mean, they're not the best graphics, but it's better than what we saw in those PlayStation 2 games, I'll tell you. Triangle in air, super move for circle, consumes spirit gauge. We'll try triangle for Getsuga Tensho, and we'll try circle. There you go. I think circle consumes all of the spirit gauge, so it's a bit more of a powerful special attack. What you'll see on the left hand side of the screen is telling us to press L2. That's the ignition gauge. So with the ignition gauge, it triples our character's attack. So the ignition gauge gets filled by dealing damage to the enemies, and once it is activated, it'll slowly drain away, as you can see. And if we press L2 again while in the ignition gauge, it'll deplete the rest of it and unleash a character's most powerful attack. So that's the ignition attack. There is an easy way to get through all of the levels in this game. So you can dash with R2. We can actually dash to the end of the mission by holding onto R2, skip all of those hollows and get to the boss. That green bar means that you can't progress until you defeat that enemy on screen. So you're gonna have to defeat this hollow slug tortoise. As we're progressing through the story, we've got Nell speaking to us. So we press L1 to lock onto the character. So we're locked onto slug tortoise now. Once the hollow stands upright, then that's his weakness, and you can just really take it out very easily. It's a very easy game, to be honest. There's not much to it, but at the same time, it's very enjoyable. Definitely worth checking out if you're a Bleach fan. I have a lot of praise for this game. So you can pick up these different things that heal up the HP, and continue fighting the little hollows, pick up your soul points. And I'll show you how we level up the characters once we clear this mission. So we'll get out of here now, and we're going to be facing off against the main boss of this level, which is going to be a group of Menos Grande. So the only actual control that I've not spoken about is to block. So you block with R1. If we block and we hold the directional button, then we can actually perform Shumpo if we're a Shinigami. If you're playing as Aranka, it's going to be Sonido. So we'll lock onto the Menos. Start with triangle. Wow. Now we're going to get a battle between 3 Menos Grande all at once. We'll just target them one at a time. Okay, thankfully our ignition gauge is full, so we can use that. So we'll just do an ignition attack on the first Menos, take it out. If you're following the dialogue in the bottom, then you'll tell that the story is progressing. Nell's joined the party, Ichigo, Uryu, and Chad are conversing. Okay, we're on the last Menos now. This, honestly, is really fun. I love flying through the air. This is everything that all Bleach fans have wanted from a console-based Bleach game. There's so much freedom here. Just fly through the air, face off against a giant enemy like a Menos Grande. I mean, it's not the most, like, in-depth game, but it's still enjoyable. First level, we've got a C rank, we've got 323 soul points. So we've unlocked Uryu as a character, episode 2's been unlocked. Yeah, let's see the level up screen. So the level up system is in a spherical kind of grid. So we'll level up Ichigo for now. So use soul points obtained during battle to upgrade your character at the level up screen. Every time a panel is unlocked, your character's level goes up by 1. Keep unlocking panels to upgrade your character. Let's see what we can unlock. So we can have an attack boost, defense boost, health boost. So we can greatly increase our health, or we can moderately increase it. I always go for vitality increases. We'll start with that. We've got 123 points left. Can't really use it for much else. We've got to play as Ichigo. We've unlocked Uryu. I think the second episode we're going to see us playing as Uryu, and the third episode we're going to play as Ichigo. Just for variety's sake, we're going to play as a Quincy and see how Uryu plays in the game. See if he's any similar to Ichigo. These short summaries are very painful to read. I feel sorry just for any of the non-Bleach fans who are reading these. One after the other, you're being bombarded with these new words. You have no idea what any of them are. You don't know what the characters are called. You're definitely going to have to be a fan of the series to play this game. Uryu's actually got his own unique set of skills here. Controls are going to be the same, so we're playing with a character who specializes in long distance combat. Okay, cool. That's pretty cool. Obviously, we're going to be facing off against hollows that are flying in the sky. I love the variety, man. This is really cool. That is really fun. So Uryu can dash as well. Super move consumes Gintos. Instead of spiritual pressure, Gintos will refill over time. That is awesome. That is really fun. Wow, okay. Uryu has his own unique way of dodging, spinning his Quincy blade. Skip our way all the way to the end of this. Okay, when it's green, then we're going to have to defeat all the enemies on screen. I can see how this will get repetitive and boring. I mean, we're doing the same thing over and over again. When you've had so little of something, you'll accept anything. I mean, I'll take this for what it is. It's fun.
Hueco Mundo's atmosphere has a high concentration of reishi.
This dialogue, man. I've said it before. It's really nice hearing him talk. I want to fill up the ignition gauge. I want to see Uryu's ignition attack, to be honest with you. We've healed up our health. This game is very easy, so if you're expecting a challenge, you know, look elsewhere. I like the way that they've implemented Uryu's abilities into this game. The last one, should we use the ignition attack? This is going to be an overkill. Oh, wow. Rush our way through to the end of the mission. Uryu's about to deal some business here. About to throw it down. Episode 3 is Ichigo versus Grimmjow, so I wonder how faithfully they are adapting everything. This game's probably just a lot of filler and fodder fights until you get around to one of the key battles of the story. Ichigo facing off against low-level Arankars and Hollows until Grimmjow turns up. So when it comes to points like this within the mission, you're just gonna have to clear all of the enemies on the stage until you can get through to the next portion. Ignition attack. This is a really OP attack. Wow. That's the mission cleared. We didn't really have a proper boss. That took 5 minutes to clear. Rank C again. Got about 300 soul points. I'm probably ranking C because I'm just skipping through most of it. So with each character you play through, they earn the soul points for their respective character. So it's not just one big pool of soul points. Mission 3. So we've got Blood Battle. So I'm guessing we're going to face off against Grimmjow here. Let's have a look. Normal mode. Cuarto Espada. The Sexta Espada, Grimmjow Jagajag secretly steals Orihime away to have her heal Ichigo's wounds. This game is 10 years old now. So much time has passed. That's pretty cool. Orihime and Nell speaking to Ichigo at the bottom. Let's just earn a bit of soul points. Let's just not completely skip through the entire level. I'm not going to be able to get out of here until I defeat these guys, so... Cruel Wings, honestly. They're very creative, aren't they? With these different hollows that they've conjured up for this game. Wow. I wonder what kind of abilities you can unlock within level up mode. Okay, so even when you dash, you can actually hit the enemies. It seems to be like the same, like 2 character models, like copied and pasted over and over again. Pretty fun. If you want to kill some time and play as Ichigo and the others, then this is definitely your game. Our health gauge has increased after that level up, so it's nice to see. This is just mindless fun, to be honest with you. There's nothing really too deep or to think into. If you're a fan of the series, you're gonna love this. I'm enjoying this game. It's not a AAA title, but it's good enough. And there's so few Bleach games out there that whatever you've got, it's hard not to appreciate it. So I've got the ignition gauge ready for when we face off against Grimmjow. Fishbone D. Wow, okay. It's probably not going to be that much of a threat, to be honest. Let's take them out. Nah. Oh, 3 of them. I'm not really utilizing the block at all. Got half a health. Can I pick up something? Does this have a health inside it? Yes. Okay, let's go face off against Grimmjow. Now this is what I'm talking about. Now this, I wanted to see some cutscenes. Character models are not too bad, you know. Oh, it would have been amazing if they started this off in the Arankar invasion. There's no character model for Grimmjow's base form, so we're starting off with just facing off against Grimmjow and his Resurreccion. Get his target in first, okay? I'm just going to go straight up with the ignition attack. Oh, I think I've got a proper chance against him now, okay? Let's deal with him. Oh, it would have been cool if you can summon the Hollow Mask in-game. Oh, God damn it, my pressure gauge isn't full. Very easy to just not let them do anything. This game is very forgiving. Even if you're losing, there's always like a health boost nearby that'll help you out. Ooh. Oh my god. The thing is, once they start their special attack, you can't dodge it. Oh my god, please, please, I need a health. Okay, he's done. Grimjow, you're finished. I'm tired of playing games with this guy. This battle against Grimjow is living up to the hype, man. Okay, I'm just gonna finish him off now. Ignition attack. Boom. That was pretty tense. I know a lot of you guys will probably have a lot of fun with this, find it a lot more easier than I did, but I'm not the best at games. 476 soul points. Okay, so we get to play as Kenpachi in episode 4, we get to play as Rukia in episode 5. Oh my god, is this song here? Is this music? James Hansen's outro song? I think it is.
Of course, you guys have this fine David Hansen. Peace out.
Big shout out to James Hansen here. Kenpachi's too cool, man. This must be a dream come true, man. Kenpachi fans finally getting to play as Kenpachi. I hope Noitra is in the game. It would be cool to see Kenpachi facing off against Noitra. Kenpachi's not taking any prisoners. It's like I said, there's not much to say. It's a lot of mindless button bashing. Don't expect the most insightful commentary here. How do I get through this? I have to... Okay. I'm gonna need this. I'm gonna need hopefully a health. Yep. Okay, just gotta remember to dodge and attack when it's appropriate. Oh. These attacks, man, they've done a nice job of implementing super and special attacks for the respective characters. It matches their personalities, I'll give you that. Nitro is looking like a monster with all those blades. This is where Kenpachi learns to fight with 2 hands. Oh my god. Kendo, there you go. That was a very short mission. 3 minutes we completed that in. Great effort, but nothing but a C though. Mission 5. Aroniero Aroriori. Rukia's model looking a bit derpy. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this mission. I'm looking forward to Ichigo's fight against Ukiara, to be honest. I want to see how they've done that. Oranka Sotano. Surprised there was no sequel to this game. Definitely had potential. I mean, there are a lot of ideas here that they could have built up upon. Would it be nice if they started the story mode from the very beginning of the series? So interested to see who the final boss is in this stage. There you go, the Exekias. Oh my god, how many of them are there? My actual fingers going numb because I'm bashing square that much. Okay, let's just do an ignition attack. Let's see. We're getting through this game in record time. These guys are like easy enemies just to build up the ignition gauge. Once we activate it, we'll just focus on the main target then. Okay. For God's sake, his target box is all the way up there. It's pretty annoying to fly all the way up. Okay, almost there. You guys are played with quite a few characters now, so just beating the stage with Rukia. Finally, we're at the Ukiara fight. Let's level up Ichigo. We'll do an attack level up. You know, we'll do another attack power up here. That's fine. This is a pretty cool transition where they have this like shadowy silhouetted Ichigo who just transitions into the game. There you go. That is pretty nice. It's a smooth transition. So head for the upper floors in the tower. We're going to do the classic skip here. We're going to just skip through all this. They're going to make us work to fight Ukiara, aren't they? I have to admit, the character who've enjoyed playing with the most is Ichigo. What a variety of villains here. You've got these very strange looking Oranka. Okay, these guys need a few hits to be taken down. Oh god damn it, it's so annoying. You know when these like odd few enemies are just stuck in the air? Camera can be a bit janky sometimes. I'm just rushing through the story. I just kind of want to see all the boss battles. Hence why we've not got that many soul points and hence why Ichigo's not completely powered up. Reptile Bone. That's a very original name. Okay. Let's do an ignition attack. Reptile Bone. What a sausage fest. I can tell the boss battle's coming up, so we've got 2 of these. We skipped quite a bit just to get to this point. I mean, it's not fully explained, but we're here. We didn't even get to see base one Ukiara. This game is like, no, let's just forget all of the build up. Let's just go to the main bit. Let's just show all the Resurreccion. This is Ukiara's second Resurreccion. We didn't even get the base form or the first Resurreccion. Let's just try and beat this guy in record time. Johnny Young Bosch was in prime form when he was doing this. Oh god. I think he's just getting ready to do his special attack. Yeah, there you go. Lanza del Embargo. Oh my god. Oh, okay, please, please. I hope this is a health. Yeah, it is a health. Even me, who's not good at games, is flying through this. Okay, so that was one encounter with Ukiara, so probably going to face off against him again. Holified Ichigo. Oh, yes. Okay, episode 7, the Basta Lore fight against Ukiara. Let's go. Could have like put this in a cutscene. It would have been nice if we had a cutscene of this. I will give it this though. They've really fleshed out the abilities of each of the characters in here. This is a PlayStation 3 game. It looks like a mix between PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3. It's not completely at PlayStation 3 level. They definitely could have done a better job with the graphics. Even the animations, to be honest, that cutscene was just terrible. Oh wow. Oh, okay. So that took 3 pressure bars there. Okay, ignition. Let's just quickly get a health. Okay, now let's deal with Ukiara. Straight up. Let's just go. Yo, this is wild. That was an epic fight. I had a lot of fun with that fight. We've unlocked Siphon. I'm guessing we've got the fake Karakura Town battles now. Hitsugaya with Haribel, Siphon with Baragon, and Shunsui and Stark. Let's have a look at Hitsugaya's fight. Okay, we're fighting in the air. Okay, this is a welcomed change. I was under the impression that this game was focused heavily within Hueco Mundo, but I'm glad that we've got some fake Karakura Town portion in here. After this, we're going to pretty much almost be done with the game. I feel like I'm playing as Devil Jin here from Tekken. I keep saying this, it's just a really fun like hack and slash beat 'em up game. Not much else to really gather from here. I mean, it can be frustrating. I mean, these characters can get really boring and repetitive to fight over and over again. There's not much variety in these small villains as well. The main highlight of Bleach Soul Resurrection is definitely the boss battles. I mean, having so much fun with each of the different boss encounters. Those first few levels where we were playing as Ichigo and we fought against those Menos, they were pretty good just to learn the controls. I'm looking forward to facing off against the other Espada, Haribel, Baragon, and Stark. Let's just skip through this. Oh, let's check out Hitsugaya's ignition attack. Oh, yo, that's a nice touch. Yeah, I'm impressed with that. That is good. Just so disappointing. It's been 10 years we've not had a console Bleach game. The anime ended in 2012. This game came out in 2011. Manga ended in 2016. We could have had another game. With the anime coming back, I'm hoping that we get another Bleach game. We've got Haribel. Haribel's character model looks on point, so does Hitsugaya's. Thank God this game was localized, man. Again, Haribel's in a Resurreccion. They wasted no time, we didn't get to see her base form. All killer, no filler. Hitsugaya vs Haribel is one of my favourite fights within the Fate Karakura Town arc. And it came to, honestly, such an unexpected, abrupt ending when Aizen just takes out Haribel. Done. It's not that it's difficult, it's just at some points these fights can get very tedious. So 171 soul points. I could tell they were trying to do some stuff with this, especially with these new characters. You're playing with them, you know, only once. I don't think we're going to play with, you know, Rukia or Uryu again. Let's see God of Hueco Mundo. Let's get through this stage quickly. Okay, move through Karakura Town. Let's just do the usual, skip through all this. So I used to watch Bleach in the dub way back in the day, but at some point it swapped over to the sub and I never really looked back. God, okay. Let's just get through and fight Baragon already. Let's just do the ignition attack. Okay, wow. The aim is sometimes really annoying and the camera angle goes all funny. Oh, okay. Yo, that is cool. 2-hit kill. When you see these two before moving on, then you know the boss battle's next. We've got a hopefully soul ignition. Yeah, let's go. This video is literally one whole video full of boss battles. In the space of one video, we've taken out nearly all of the Espada, and we're gonna hopefully take out Aizen as well. If we can just stay away when he's using Respira and we just attacking long range from here, I think this fight's going to be over very quickly. Okay, careful, careful. Okay, back off now. Almost there, almost there. Done. We're just wiping the floor with all of the Espada. Lone Wolf 10, episode 10, we've got 11, 12, 13, 14 after this. Yo, shout out to James Hansen's outro. This is just the song I need to clear through the stage. You've just been Hansen, boys.
Peace out.
I think Shunsui knows all about Hansening people. Yo, Shunsui's health bar, man, look at it, you can tell he's one of the strongest. Yo, he's making quick work out of everything here. You know when you got a powerful character and they've just designed the gameplay around him to be just so satisfying. Shinsui's not taking any hits, man. Come on, let's find Stark. I swear to God, if they dragged out this mission, these guys are so annoying. Oh, for God's sake, get out of here. Bloody janky ass animation, man. What terrible camera angle. See, it's so annoying. You have to jump because he's flying so high in the air. You have to constantly jump and attack this guy. Health's not doing too bad. Okay, I got the ignition boost, got the health, and we're ready now. Obviously, he's going to be in his Resurreccion form. That looks dippy. It just looks like a PlayStation 2 game. Let's just go straight in with the ignition boost. Yo, Stark's going to feel very lonely after this. Okay, that was a pretty cool ignition attack. Yo, Shunsui is too OP, man. That is awesome. Shunsui's so good. God, Shunsui's voice actor, man.
Just wasn't in the mood.
Just wasn't in the mood. Okay. Yeah, I've taken that head on. That is a cool animation. Yo, Shunsui's got some crazy regenerative ability, man. That was too easy, man. They've made Shunsui too powerful in this. 273 soul points. That was really, really easily done. Okay, Byakuya and Yami. Then after this, we've got a level with Yoriichi. Let's quickly get through this one. At this point, I'm ready. Got Ichigo versus Aizen. I hate these green barriers. The Vulcan Gigant. Oh god. Gonna just have to get a health after that. Bloody explosion. Yo. A definite attempt is being made here to tell the story, but don't know how successful they are at it. Byakuya versus Yami. Wonder if Kenpachi's gonna join us. Again, character models are really good. Okay, this is a bit more of a trickier fight, but I think we've got it. So, do a long range attack with triangle until his head dips. Okay, he's not too bad. I think you just gotta figure out how to fight him. I think I can finish him off now, surely. This guy was a pain. You gotta just figure out the tactic and just roll with it. Okay, thank God he's done. Full sheet of C's, and the only one that we got a B on was the heart. So Yoriichi's level, Divine Power. Okay, Yoriichi's got an interesting fight style. They've tried to make it an experience, but it's very repetitive and boring, to be honest with you. I love the fact that, you know, there are several characters, each of them have a variety of abilities and attacks. There's only so much you can do in this kind of like gameplay style, to be honest. Like, I'm already ready to see the ending. Like, I'm already done with this game. God, you know what, I'd love it if there was like a 3 versus 1 boss battle. Urahara and Ishin team up. We're facing off against Aizen one-on-one. I never liked this form of Aizen, in his cocoon form. Oh, she's got the same move as Siphon. That Ankan ability comes in pretty handy, to be honest. It does quite a bit of damage. Okay, come on, Yoriichi, you've got this. Okay, that's cool. Okay, time to end this. Yo, point blank range. That was amazing. Thought there was like 2 stages to that boss fight then. We've got episode 13 and then we're finishing off with episode 14. Okay, we're on the penultimate stage. Genichimaru Awakening. My god, I think they were rushing the game at this point. Gin's model looks absolutely horrifying. That is so janky. So it's going straight in with the boss battle here. They didn't even create like a full level for this. After this one, the final mission, so we're almost done. I think Gin's not going to have a chance. I'm not even going to give him an opportunity to like even strike back. Oh god, he's pesky, man. You gotta just get him and just trap him. If I can just get the ignition gauge and just take this guy out. Okay, that. So this is how Bleach Resurreccion is going to go into its final mission. Look at Ichigo there. This is getting so terrible now. You know what? The game's supposed to like save the best for last. I feel like the worst moments are in the end. Such a lazy game. It started off so good. Towards the end, it's just, honestly, I feel like they were rushing to get it finished. S rank. Episode 14, To Protect. So this is the final mission of the game, guys. Yeah, that's the whole character roster, I think. 17. We've got one more character to unlock. So this is the final mission of Bleach Soul Resurrection, playing as Dangai Ichigo. This is cool. Ichigo's final has an ignition attack that is not available for use in this episode. What? Frog bone, fish bone, reptile bone, frog bone. Head towards the final battle. Optional. We're gonna skip. They're doing everything that they can to delay this final fight. Making quick work out all this. Okay, they're done. I'm so done with this game. Let me just face off against Aizen and call it. We've got Butterfly Aizen. Okay, this guy is really frustrating. Yo, he's dodging everything. How's he? Nani? Nani? Come on, come on. Okay. Yo. Done, finally. Yo, it's a shame, man. Ichigo didn't have a ignition attack at the end, so they're just gonna do it as a cutscene. We got here in a very haphazard manner, but we're here. All the way from the beginning of the Hueco Mundo arc to Ichigo's Mugetsu. That's it. That's the end of the story mode of Bleach Soul Resurrection. God. That character model. I mean, to be fair to the creators, I mean, they've done a good job with the character models so far. It's just sometimes they have their moments where they look deppy. That's Bleach Soul Resurrection for you. In terms of the game, it is far more fleshed out than the PlayStation 2 games that we had. Thankfully, the combat system is very fun and it is enjoyable, but it can get repetitive and boring very quickly. Now, the story mode has a short playtime. I completed this personally within 2.5 hours, but I was rushing through it, so if you were fighting each of the small villains, it can take you up to like 4 to 5 hours to complete the story mode, but it does leave you wanting more. Each of the main bosses, we fought against the Espada after they were in their Resurreccion. There was no build up, like we didn't see any of their base forms. Ukiyoru we fought in his second Resurrection form. Like, where was the first? Like, where was the base form battle? Now, if you're itching to re-experience the Bleach story in a fun and new way, then sadly, this isn't the best way to do so. So, Bleach Soul Resurrection's story mode haphazardly adapts the source material, and it shoehorns it into this hack and slash gameplay. Now, with all of this said, Bleach Soul Resurrection is definitely still worth checking out if you're a Bleach fan, and at the moment, it is honestly the best console-based Bleach game that I have ever played. Definitely go check this one out. If you've been following my Bleach gameplay videos, then you'll know that I have covered the Bleach games released on the PS2 and PS3. Now, when it comes to those games, I had no familiarity or nostalgia attached to them, but as far as the PSP is concerned, I literally grew up on the first few Bleach games released on the PSP. I remember installing custom firmware on my PSP back in 2006, and one of the first games that I had downloaded and played was Bleach Heat the Soul. Now, back then, I'd played until Bleach Heat the Soul 4, and I'd started to get the basic idea behind this series of games, but I didn't really continue until its final installment, which was Heat the Soul 7. So I'm going to be very excited to see how Heat the Soul 7 compares to the earlier entries in the series that I genuinely have a lot of nostalgia for. The PSP by far had the largest number of Bleach games released on it out of any other gaming platform, with a total of 9 games released, 7 from the Heat the Soul series and 2 from the Soul Carnival series. Now, unfortunately, none of these games were localized and they were exclusively released within Japan. Now, luckily for English-speaking fans, the PSP did fall victim to a great deal of piracy immediately after launch. Now, I was 13 at the time and it felt like I'd opened Pandora's box. Now, with the entire library of PSP games available to play as long as I was patient enough to wait for them to download, this is how I came to know about the Bleach games that were released on the PSP that I would play for hours on end while watching the anime weekly during the Aranka arc at the time. So enough about me, let's now start by covering the infamous Heat the Soul series so that we can understand why it's fondly remembered by fans like myself even to this day. Now, the Heat the Soul series of games was released on the
PSP with all 7 installments being developed by Eighting, and they were published by Sony Computer Entertainment Inc. Heat the Soul is a series of 3D cel-shaded fighting games, and they really pushed the PSP to its limits by the time that the final installment was released. Each release featured multiple game modes, with subsequent releases carrying forward the new methods of play. In addition to this, the Heat the Soul games featured a story mode that was constantly updated with each new release, meaning that the new installments would regularly feature new characters. The story mode within a typical Heat the Soul game takes no more than 2 hours to complete, and it gives you the opportunity to earn points so that you can unlock more characters or arenas. There were 7 games in the Heat the Soul series released between 2005 to 2010. These games feature a very enjoyable gameplay style as we take part in 1v1 battles with the aim of taking out your enemy using basic attacks and special attacks. The abilities and characters that feature within the game are faithful to the source material, and each new installment adds something new which keeps players coming back for more. Like I have mentioned, the new installments in the series featured updates to the gameplay. For example, from Heat the Soul 3, it was made possible to select support characters who assist you in battle, with each of these support characters having their own unique abilities being assigned to them. Now that we have explained the basic history behind the Heat the Soul series, let's dive into the games. For the purposes of this video, I want to go through 3 out of the 7 games in order to see how these games grew over time. I will be going over Heat the Soul 1, 4, and its final installment 7. Now let's start with the first entry in the series. So Bleach Heat the Soul 1 was released in Japan on the 24th of March 2005. Another fun fact about this game is that it was the first Bleach game that was ever released, even predating the first Bleach game released on the PS2. It features the first anime opening as its theme song, which is of course Asterisk, sang by the band Orange Range. The story of this game is limited to the first arc, the Substitute Shinigami arc, and it features the very limited roster of 6 playable characters which are from said story arc. Now this humble start to the Heat the Soul series will show you just how far they have come with each new release. Typically the Heat the Soul games features voiceover work from the anime cast members. We can hear them in-game as well as during story sequences. We'll start by having a one-on-one battle to see how the gameplay is like, so I'll select Ichigo as my main character. Now this game is really nostalgic for me. I remember playing this back when I was a kid, and surprisingly the graphics appear to have aged pretty well. Now this is of course not the native resolution of the PSP. There'd be a lot of pixels and it'd be really blurry. For the purposes of this video, I'm running these games on a PSP emulator and I'll upscale the graphics, so it does look slightly better than what you'd expect from the small screen of the PSP. With the basic controls of this game, you jump with triangle, so X gives you a weak attack, while circle lets you do a strong attack. So with the square button, you can actually charge your Reiatsu, but with it being full, there's no need. So there are special moves that you can do with like square and X. Now, I will have to admit, like, the polygon count on this is not the highest, which results in the characters feeling really blocky. Still, it looks good in my opinion. Like, the arenas look nice. You could tell that it's an anime world. It's bright, colorful, and visually impressive. You can see that there are really smooth, animated, cel-shaded graphics here. I'd say that the graphics are jumping off of the screen. I think they've done a good job with the character models. So we're facing off against Orihime in this battle. You know, they've done a good job of translating over the movesets with the very limited knowledge that they had about these characters. I mean, at the time, this game was in production even before the release of the first episode of the anime. The first episode had released in October of 2004, and this game was released in March of 2005. This game was released less than 5 months from the premiere of the first episode in the anime, so they probably didn't have much material to adapt into this game. But regardless of this is a solid first entry. Now this game really does give us an idea of things to come. I mean, it's not the most technical fighter, but it's very enjoyable. Another complaint that is commonly mentioned about the first Heat the Soul game is that there's only a handful of playable characters. I mean, you've got Ichigo, Uryu, Chad, Orihime, Rukia, and lastly Renji, who you can unlock later on in the game. Chad is always pretty difficult in these games. I mean, we had trouble with him in the Blade Battler series, and in the Heat the Soul series he's proving to be just as annoying. We'll play one more game, and I think we've got a solid idea of the first Heat the Soul game before moving on to the 4th entry. Facing off against Rukia in this battle, you can see that each of the characters have their own unique playset, so no 2 characters will play the same. Obviously Ichigo's got his large oversized Zanpakuto, which really comes in handy because you can really take out people's hitboxes from a distance. Ichigo definitely needs to be nerfed. Wow.
These were the early days of the series. Like, this is when Bleach was a hot thing, man. The Soul Society arc wasn't even completed at this time. The anime was newly released. It was genuinely a really fun time to be a Bleach fan. So I think we've got a basic idea of Bleach Heat the Soul 1. Let's now move on to our next game, which is going to be the 4th installment in the series, Heat the Soul 4. So the 4th installment of the Heat the Soul series fits perfectly as the midpoint of this series of games. It was released on the 24th of May 2007, which was just over 2 years after the first game's release. Heat the Soul 4 features a total of 51 playable characters and 20 or so support characters, and the story centers around the Arrancar invasion of Karakura Town, and it takes us all the way up until Ichigo entering Hueco Mundo. Unlike the last 3 games, this one has a character master mode, which allows you to level up a character and to unlock alternate costumes for them. Now, this game is genuinely so much fun, and it's a teaser for the final installment in the Heat the Soul series. Heat the Soul 4 introduces us to EX forms of playable characters. Now, these are character forms from prior to the Arrancar arc, meaning that the normal forms of the playable characters stem from their present story appearance within the game. This appears to be the case for characters like Ginichimaru and Aizen, who had a notable change in character design after the Soul Society arc. So you've got the differentiation of Ginichimaru's Shinigami attire with the EX label, and while he is donning the Arrancar robe, that's just his normal outfit. What we'll do is we'll play a basic free battle mode. I'll obviously be Bankai Ichigo. There's quite a few characters that you can pick as support characters. All of the characters in green are only support characters, while the characters in blue are playable and support characters. Surprisingly, they've got filler characters here from the Bound filler. Wow, so I'll have Zangetsu, of course, as one of my support characters, and why not? Let's have Urahara as a second support character. Now, in terms of our enemy, we'll go with Ukiara, and supporting Ukiara will of course be Aizen, and we'll do Gin. Now, there's quite a few playable stages here, a lot more than Heat the Soul 1, and a lot of these stages are very vibrant and eye-catching. We'll battle here. I think it appears to be a Karakura Town at night. You can see once again their cel-shaded characters as excellent bright backgrounds, vibrant graphics. I mean, 50 characters to play with is such a strong point, and each of them having their own unique abilities, and no 2 characters feel the same. This is honestly such a change from the first game. It feels so much more fast and action-packed. This is what I was playing as a kid. This was so much fun to play on a handheld device. It's literally everything that you could wish for in a Bleach game. This new entry, you can actually have your support characters assist you by pressing L. So I think it gives you a power buff, so in this case we've got attack up. So the support characters either buff you or debuff your opponent. Like with the first game, the controls are very similar. You got circle for a strong attack, X for a weak attack. If you hold square, you can charge your Reiatsu, like that. And then you've got special combos, so you can press square and circle. There you go, that's one special attack. The additional special abilities come from square and X and square and triangle. So you've got character master mode, which was the new mode that was added to this game. And then you've got mission battle, of course, is just playing through the story mode. So you've got free mission, so we'll obviously be Ichigo. Wow, so here you go. So you can play through any one of the stages here. Several encounters with Grimmjow that occur. Each of them is here. So let's do this one here. You can tell most of the story within this game is during the Arrancar invasion of Karakura Town. Wow, I'm so impressed with the backgrounds of the character models. It's just popping off of the screen, the colors. I think they've done such a good job. Wow. It's honestly so fast paced. If you've never played Heat the Soul, you're really missing out. These games are incredibly fun. With the number of playable characters, you're doing yourself a disservice by not playing these games. So we've done square and circle. Let's try square and X. Wow. After this, we'll move on to Heat the Soul 7. This is so impressive. These games have stood up to the test of time. It was released in 2007 and I'm having fun in 2022 playing it. Okay. It's just proving to be pretty difficult. The game's not easy. I think in story mode, you can change the difficulty of the CPU, and it really does add a challenge to the gameplay. Oh my god. Okay. I said it in my PS3 video, I'm not the best at games. You might have more luck than I do at playing games. I think I have to meet a certain condition in order to beat Grimmjow, but it's not happening. Maybe I can only inflict damage on Grimmjow when I've got a Holomask equipped. Every other attack's not doing anything. I don't know Japanese, so I don't know the conditions of this fight. Grimmjow's a beast.
You can see that there's quite a few modes that you can actually play with, even in versus CPU mode. You've got time attack mode, survival mode. So we'll have a go at the 100 survival mode. The number of arenas and the number of playable characters is unreal. I wonder how they fit this within a PSP game. Honestly, it looks amazing. Just look at the colors, look at the sky, look at the character models. So I have to have 100 wins against this enemy, and he gets harder and harder with every time that I've defeated him. These are fun modes, man. Really challenging modes. You can test out your abilities. Heat the Soul gets a solid like 8 or 9 out of 10 for me. I think the only thing is, I just wish that it was released on a home console. I mean, this would be such a fun fighter. It's a shame that it's just handheld. We're on 21 wins. Let's just see how many we can get, and then we'll move on to Heat the Soul 7. 29 wins. Okay, let's get to 30. The gameplay is honestly so fast-paced. We managed to get to 37 wins. Not too bad. 37 out of 100. That was Bleach Heat the Soul 4, an incredibly fun experience. You know, over 50 characters, 20 support characters. Like I've said several times, beautiful, vibrant, eye-catching graphics. The cel-shaded characters really make you feel like they've popped straight out of the anime and onto the PSP. Bleach Heat the Soul 4 is an amazing entry in this series, and I'm really excited to see what they've done with Heat the Soul 7. Without further delay, let's talk about the final game in this series, Bleach Heat the Soul 7. Bleach Heat the Soul 7 was released on the 2nd of September 2010. I describe Heat the Soul 7 as an impressive final entry to one of the most memorable series of anime games that I have ever played. The 7th installment features a jaw-dropping 84 playable characters, with new additions being the Resurrections of Stark, Baragon, Haribel, just to name a few. This game even features movie-exclusive characters like Senna, Dark Rukia, and even Shuren from Bleach Movie 4. You can see that the characters have different forms, like Ichigo's got his attire from the Substitute Shinigami arc, then the normal Shikai attire, and then he's got his Bankai attire. So each one having a totally different moveset, which makes them their own individual playable characters. A bit like Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi if you've played those games. In addition to being able to select the forms, this game does allow you to change forms during battle, and it depends on if you have enough Reiatsu. So if you meet the conditions of transformation, you can activate a character's respective Bankai or Resurreccion by pressing L and R together. Now, with that change being said, everything else pretty much stays the same in terms of the controls. You counter with R, you change your character with L if you're in tag mode, and of course strong attack, weak attack, and jump, as well as charging your Reiatsu have all stayed the same since the first game. So here we're facing off against standard Ichigo. So I've selected arcade mode, so we'll just play through a couple of battles, get an actual feel of the game. So you can see that not much has changed in terms of like graphics and gameplay. We've had just a lot of new characters and some new arenas added. It would have been nice if there was an 8th installment, we would have had all of the Fullbringers within the game, but I think the PSP was actually being phased out by the time that this game released in 2010. The Heat the Soul series ran for 7 games, they were released over 5 years, so they definitely worked hard, got their money's worth out of the series. Oh wow. So they've got different special attacks. Wow, Ichigo's special attack has changed in this game, that's amazing. I'm so impressed with the Heat the Soul games. Heat the Soul 7 is just unreal as well. Some people cite this as, you know, one of the best Bleach games ever made. I think there were fans who were working on an English translation patch for this game last year, which proves that 11 years after release is still pretty relevant. Also on YouTube there are several mods of this game, which goes to show that having loads of playable characters in an anime fighting game is clearly the formula for success. So again, you can see that in terms of gameplay, I mean, it's exactly the same as Heat the Soul 4, with the addition of some new special attack animations, more playable characters and more gameplay modes really. Okay, come on Orihime. That. It's a shame that most of these Bleach games just weren't localized and weren't released outside of Japan. I think a lot of people would have had fun with Heat the Soul. There would have been a market for the Heat the Soul games as well. I mean, at least, you know, if they released like 3 or 2 of the games. Could have released Heat the Soul 3 and Heat the Soul 7, and I think a lot of English fans would have been happy with that. God, she's spamming one attack. Okay, finally.
I think the only downside with these games is that if you were playing each installment one after the other, then it would feel like not much is changing. There are only going to be minor differences between Heat the Soul 6 and 7, but obviously if you've jumped from 4 to 7, then it's worthwhile. I wouldn't recommend playing through every single one. I'd say you could play through either one of Heat the Soul 1, 2, or 3, and then just go straight to Heat the Soul 7. So you've got a solid idea how these games actually work and play through. In terms of fun, you're going to have the most fun with Heat the Soul 7. Okay, we're back against Chad, who's proven to be difficult in every single game that I've played so far. So I'm not even going to give him an opportunity. Sorry, bro. Oh my god. That was dangerous. This guy, Chad, man, you don't want to underestimate him. He's more powerful in these games than he is in the series. Oh my god. He's activated both arms. After this fight, we're just going to move on to the next game. Okay, let's go. Oh my god. I want to know, what are your thoughts about these games? Have you played these Heat the Soul games before? Do you have nostalgia for them? Do you think that they hold up to the test of time? I mean, look at these graphics. I mean, with the PSP upscaled, it looks like I'm playing a PlayStation 2 game. You know, we didn't have a one-on-one fighter on the PS2. It was more like an arena brawler with the Blade Battlers games. Finally, that was a difficult fight. These arcade mode battles in Heat the Soul are pretty difficult. Yeah, this was Bleach Heat the Soul 7. This was an excellent final entry into the Heat the Soul series. I cannot believe that there are over 84 playable characters within this game. It's such a fun experience, and it's a game that I think every Bleach fan needs to play at least once. So we're going to be moving on to our final PSP game, which of course is Bleach Soul Carnival 2. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to be covering the Bleach Soul Carnival series through its second and final installment, which should give us an idea as to what they were trying to do with these games. Bleach Soul Carnival 2 is an action role-playing game that was released on the 10th of December 2009, so it was released before Bleach Heat the Soul 7. Soul Carnival features the Bleach characters in a miniature chibi form. The story of the second Soul Carnival game takes place from the start of the manga all the way up until Ichigo defeats Ukiura. So we've got a total of 34 stages that you play through, and it takes you through the entirety of that story. Now, the story in this game is told through voiceover, text, and stills from the anime, and in terms of gameplay, you can control a variety of characters from Bleach as you take part in several side-scrolling missions with the aim of defeating a boss at the end of the mission. Now, there are 3 maps that you get familiar with: Karakura Town, Soul Society, and Hueco Mundo, and to unlock the maps you need to play through the story, and the same applies for the characters. As for the most part, you do control Ichigo, but the more that you play through the story, you will unlock more and more playable characters, and the game features 16 playable characters in total, with an impressive number of 120 support characters. As you can see, Bleach Soul Carnival has very simplistic visuals, but despite the simplistic visuals, this series of games does have its fans. Personally, I never really enjoyed these games. In my opinion, they are too simplistic and tedious, as the main objective of the game is just hacking and slashing through fodder enemies until you reach a final boss battle. These games do have a very linear gameplay style, and the only thing that does redeem it in my opinion is its great visuals. I love the chibi characters. Bleach Soul Carnival is still worth checking out if you're a Bleach fan. It's not for everyone, and it's certainly not for me, and I know that a lot of people do have nostalgia for these games, but I just couldn't get into them. I remember downloading Soul Carnival 1 at the time, and I just found it really boring. I didn't enjoy how these Soul Carnival games retold the Bleach story, with stills from the anime and text boxes that you can't even skip through. I mean, if I had a choice between Soul Carnival and Heat the Soul, I'd definitely choose Heat the Soul. I mean, check it out, you've got this really basic side-scrolling gameplay style. It feels more like a mobile game than an actual fully-fledged PSP game in my opinion. If this was on Android or iOS, I'd understand. I mean, on the PSP we've had the Heat the Soul games, and I just think that they could have done better. Resurreccion were the guys who had done the Blade Battlers games, and they had also released Bleach Soul Resurreccion on the PS3. They had left their mark on the PSP by creating Bleach Soul Carnival. So far in my Bleach gameplay videos, we have covered every Bleach game that was released on Sony home consoles and handhelds. Now, in this video, I will be starting to cover all of the Bleach games that were released on Nintendo devices. We will be starting off with the Bleach games that were released on the GameCube and on the Nintendo Wii. Now, as with most of these Bleach games, I have not played any of the games that we'll be covering in this video, so you'll be getting my first impressions of these titles, and as far as the games are concerned, we will be talking about 1 GameCube game and 2 Nintendo Wii Bleach games. Let's start with the earliest entry, which is Bleach on the GameCube. So the first Bleach game that was released on Nintendo home consoles has the mysterious title of Bleach Shinigami in the Twilight. It was released on the 8th of December 2005, and unfortunately it is a Japanese exclusive title.
battle, but I'll try my best to navigate through the game as the menu and character names are thankfully in English. Bleach on the GameCube is mostly a weapons-based fighting game, and it features a very simplified control scheme. Every character in this game has several combos that they can utilize, as well as special and super attacks. The story featured here mostly covers the Soul Society arc. Unlike some of the previous games I've spoken about, this game does feature cel-shaded graphics, which is a big plus in any game that is adapting an anime or manga art style. I've heard that the cutscenes in this game are impressive for its time, and that the voice actors from the anime have made their return for this game. In terms of gameplay, it is a fairly quick game to beat, but unlocking the characters in this game is a very tedious task. At the time that this game was released in 2005, it was pretty popular amongst Bleach fans, even some international fans having imported this game in. This GameCube entry is a relatively fun weapons-based fighter. It has over 27 playable characters. This game is an average fighting game. It's another title that is a must-play if you're a Bleach fan, but it won't really appeal to non-fans. Now, this is my first time playing this game, so let's see how Bleach on the GameCube actually plays. So let's start by diving into the single player and having a 1 versus 1 battle against the CPU. So I'll play Ichigo. Okay, I think this is a little bit of an arcade style. So we're facing off against Uryu in our first battle. Again, all of the voice actors have returned from the anime for this game. Okay. It's an interesting art style. In comparison to the PS2 Bleach games, it does look better than those, at least the PS2 games that were released in 2005. I think Uryu is fairly annoying in this game because he just spams his arrows. I was concerned initially that this game appears to be pretty slow, but I think once you get the hang of the controls, then it's not all that too bad. So you can sidestep. There's 2 buttons for attack. You can block and charge your Reiatsu. I think if you charge your Reiatsu and your enemy comes into the line of it, then it activates a mode called slow mode. So that's slow mode. But it slows down your opponent's actions and allows you to just beat on them. It is an enjoyable game, to be honest with you. He just starts spamming the arrows once you get a little bit of distance on him. Okay, so cool, you can do Getsuga Tensho as well. It feels like Blade Battlers, but you know, without the arena aspect of it. Okay, timeout, so I won that round. That's the only issue. I feel like some of the rounds can drag on for a bit longer, and there are quite a few timeouts that can occur like that. This game's got a heavy focus on the Soul Society arc. Released in 2005, there wasn't really much of the story to kind of adapt into a game, so we've only got really up to the Soul Society arc. I don't even think Bankai Ichigo is in this game. Wow, I'm surprised that they've managed to get Ganju into this game. He's got a proper moveset. I think that's the interesting thing. No 2 characters will play the same in this game, so each character has their unique abilities and moves that they can utilize and combos. Oh, it's not the most challenging game, to be honest with you. I'm flying through these battles. Character models look on point, really. Obviously, the lips aren't moving with actual voice acting, so it is limited in that sense. But it's just a game of its time, to be honest. 2005, it wasn't really that advanced for graphics. I always find it interesting when they've got Hitsugaya in the game. So we saw Hitsugaya in Soul Resurrection. This game also has a very nice character model of Hitsugaya. 2005, you can't get better than this. Bleach Shinigami in the Twilight definitely lives up to my expectations. It's got some really interesting gaming mechanics, like I love this slow motion mood. Obviously I haven't got time to like learn all of the combos, but you can tell that it's, you know, a rather fleshed out game. Yeah, I think I'll be able to play through every single battle. Okay, now if you've been watching these videos, then you know I've had difficulty with Chad in the previous Bleach games. So let's see how Chad is like on the GameCube. Oh, that was nice. Oh god, okay. God damn it, this guy's just blocking now, blocking every attack. God damn it. Chad is also proving to be pretty difficult on the GameCube. I'm not even going to give him an opportunity here now. Oh wow. Chad was not going down, he's got a solid defense. Okay, in our next fight, we're facing off against Ginichimaru. Play through a solid few games of this now. It's definitely an enjoyable game, this GameCube Bleach game. I think they stay laying down on the floor for a bit too long. That's a wild move that, you just stab your sword into somebody or they're laying down. They've done a good job of utilizing the very few moves that we had seen. Up until this point in the story, we'd only really seen Ginichimaru utilize a handful of moves during his encounter with Ichigo and then during some skirmishes with Hitsugaya, but they've done well to translate all of that into a moveset. Really making quick work out of all of these opponents. Ichigo vs Ichigo in our 6th battle.
Oh god damn it. Wow. Okay, so this is the first full motion video cutscene that we've seen. I stand corrected. Bankai Ichigo is in this game. So I think the more that you attack and receive damage, your energy gauge in the bottom left fills up. I think those orbs are indicative of what special attack you can utilize. You've got to love the fact that this game has 27 playable characters. I mean, there's so many here from up to the Soul Society arc. Even characters like Ikaku made the cut. You know, I really recommend this game. If you've got a GameCube lying around and you want to play a good Bleach game, I definitely recommend Shinigami and the Twilight on the GameCube. Such a good, enjoyable experience if you're a Bleach fan. I definitely rank this up there with the Blade Battlers games on the PS2. Then the main point of this game, if you've got enough Reishi charged up, then you can really decimate your opponents. Oh, Head Captain Yamamoto, wow. This is going to be an interesting battle. Head Captain Yamamoto has been based off of his encounter with Shunsui and Ukitake during the Soul Society arc. We didn't really get to see much of the Head Captain during that battle, it was mostly off screen. This makes me feel like I'm facing off against Heihachi from Tekken. Okay. Oh, it's a solid back and forth. Head Captain packs a punch. Cut that out, dude. You cannot power up with me. Trust the Head Captain to sidestep Bankai. Okay, I've got him. No. Even in slow mode, he's hitting back. This guy is a beast. Yes. I hope this takes him out. Head Captain's pretty difficult in this game. He's still not gone. Oh my god, I had literally the tiniest amount of health left, and the time was on 0. Okay, we've cleared single mode. That was Bleach on the GameCube. What an enjoyable, fun game. We're going to be moving on to the Nintendo Wii now, and there are 2 Nintendo Wii games that we need to cover. The first being Bleach Shattered Blade. Bleach Shattered Blade for the Nintendo Wii was originally released in Japan on the 14th of December 2006, and it was localized and released in the USA on the 9th of October 2007. This was 10 months after its original Japanese release. Now, on a strange side note, Europe and Australia ended up getting this game in February 2008. When this game was released for English-speaking fans, the dubbed version of the anime was still only on the Soul Society arc, with Renji vs Byakuya airing on Adult Swim in the US during the same month that this game was released in the US. Now, this game features several game modes, with the most notable being Episode Mode, where we see 8 different characters play through 10 different battles in an all-original story filled with cinematics and game-exclusive voice acting. There is also a Versus Mode and an Arcade Mode, which allows you to play with up to 32 characters. Now, the most interesting thing about this game in particular is that it has a game-exclusive new character that was designed by Kubo. This character is an Arankar called Arturo Plateado. He is the main antagonist of this game, and he has a similar design to Grimmjow, and he has the ability to take up the form of anybody, including Zanpakuto spirits, or members of the Gotei 13. Apparently in the past, Arturo had raided the Soul Society, but he ended up being sealed below Sokyoku Hill by the Shinigami. This had occurred 2,000 years before the present timeline of Bleach, similar to Bojack from Dragon Ball Z Movie 9. When Ichigo destroyed the Sokyoku to save Rukia, it ended up breaking the seal that was placed on Arturo, thus freeing him. And now the 10 battles that you take part in during story mode with all of the 6 different characters all conclude by you facing off against Arturo. In general, fans really enjoyed this game and they praised it for its interesting game exclusive story mode and the casual fun fighting style, but in general the mechanics and depth are just not present within this game, and there is no comparison when you put this up against Smash Bros Brawl, which was released during the same time as this game. This game heavily utilized the Wiimote for controlling the character Zanpakuto. A lot of these gimmicky gameplay mechanics that I never really liked when it came to Wii games. In my opinion, when it comes to Bleach Shattered Blade, there was not enough focus on the overall quality of the game. Bleach Shattered Blade is a typical 3D anime fighter. We've played through several of these at this point. This first entry on the Wii is very reliant upon the Bankai gauge. When the Bankai gauge fills up, a corresponding flame lights up and it allows you to activate a character's Bankai. This gauge is filled when you either deal damage to your opponent or receive damage. The problem is that once the meter is full and you activate your attack, you have pretty much won the fight. So it ends
ends up being a race to see who can fill their Bankai gauge first. Even when you activate your Bankai, you're pretty much indestructible, and every attack that you deliver while you're in Bankai is super powerful, which makes it even easier to defeat your opponent. Let's start this game off by going on to episode mode and trying to play through Ichigo's story mode in this game. So you've got Ichigo, Hitsugaya, and Renji. So play as Ichigo. A lot of the story is delivered in these kind of cutscenes where you've got some dialogue which are voice acted. It's a pretty nice touch, to be honest, especially with the English voice actors, you know, voicing all of their respective characters. Okay, so that's interesting. So the loading screens are Orihime's drawings. Okay, that's a pretty nice touch. We've not seen that in any of the other Bleach games. Facing off against Renji in our first battle of story mode. Again, this game plays very different to the GameCube game, so it's going to take a bit of getting used to. Very fast paced. Appears as though you just got to win one round to progress on to the next opponent. Again, I love the fact that it's voice acted here. The lip flaps are actually moving, which is a plus. This game's controls heavily rely on the Wiimote and the nunchucker, so as you can see, you have to move the nunchucker left and right in order to actually power up your Reiatsu. Okay, this game also has this very interesting mode here where you clash with your opponent and you have to get your control within that green bar. I think it happens within 5 times. Whoever actually wins each round, you know, wins this encounter. Kira is so annoying. He's just literally spamming the same move over and over again. That was really frustrating. Kira genuinely made me go all out there. Okay, well, at least through his fight, I learned how to activate Bankai, so that was a plus. It's pretty difficult when you're trying to, you know, navigate through the controls because it relies on the Wiimote and on the nunchucker, and I've only got a DualShock 4 controller that I've mapped the controls to, so it's a little bit difficult to kind of make this game work. Oh my god. So we faced off against Chad on the PS2, PSP, and we faced off against Chad on the GameCube. And now we're facing Chad on the Nintendo Wii. Yasutora, the Chad Sado. Is easier than Kira. Feel bad for doing this to Chad, but he deserves it. After how much trouble he's caused us across all of these gaming platforms. That had to be done. I'll win this. Oh, draw. This reminds me of the Dragon Ball Z games. I think they had a very similar mechanic when you were going through energy clashes with your opponent. I wonder what they're going to do with Ganju's transformation. He's just powered up really. He's got nothing on Bankai. After you've seen that a couple times, it does get really old. I think once you figure out the controls, it's fairly easy to play through the game. Ichigo vs Kenpachi. This should be a little bit more difficult. So keep my distance with this guy. Okay, we'll activate Bankai and we might have a chance against this guy. Okay, he has also activated his power up. Oh my god. Have I done it? Yes. That was a really tricky fight. I'm not going to tell you how many times I pressed retry on that Kenpachi fight, but we've beaten him. We're up against Orihime now in our next fight. That's a bit harsh to say to Orihime. A lot of Ichiruki fans were happy with that. Yeah, that was a pretty straightforward fight. Orihime literally just stood there and did nothing. Oryu pretty much didn't do anything during that fight also. He stood there, fired a few arrows, but it's fairly easy to defeat. Okay, Komamura's down. Clearly this new Arrancar character, Arturo, is disguising himself as all of these different characters, and he's going to be the last opponent we face off against. Okay, now we should be facing off against the newly designed character for this game, Arturo. He's the big plot twist, guys. Here is Mr. Big Bad himself. Quite strange that he's dressed exactly like an Espada. Wonder if Aizen knows about this guy. This guy's playing out every villain cliche. So final battle of story mode, facing off against Mr. Big Bad himself. This game was such a pain to figure out the controls of. It's so hard to replay Wii games without the actual peripherals of the Wii. The battle against Arturo is not much different than what we've seen before. It plays exactly the same as the previous encounters. Fairly enjoyable game, difficult because of the controls. And like I'd mentioned back when I'd introduced this game, Bleach Shattered Blade is not much of a challenge really. Activate Bankai, spam a few special attacks and you've won the game. The next Nintendo Wii game is the final game that was released on a Nintendo home console. This game is regarded highly by a lot of fans. I know that when I made my videos on the PS2 and PS3 games, a lot of people had told me to check out the second game released on the Wii called Bleach vs. Crusade. Fun fact about Bleach vs. Crusade, it has opening 9 as its intro. It's another Japanese exclusive game that was released on the 18th of December 2008. This game focuses heavily on the Arrancar arc, featuring up to 25 playable characters, which doesn't include their respective Bankai or release states. Most of these characters can be unlocked by completing the story mode. Thankfully, this game is not reliant upon the motions of the Wiimote, and you can just play like any typical 3D fighter. Once again, we have the original voice actors that are returning from the anime for this game. This game has up to 4 players battling it out on stage, which is similar to Blade Battlers on the PS2. I am running a English language patch on this game, so we can actually read through what modes we're selecting. So we've got fight through the story mode, we've got select from any of the versus modes, so we'll have a go at versus mode. Players Ichigo, my partner will be Shinji. The graphics are quite janky in this game, to be honest. Surprising, especially for a 2008 Wii game. I mean, the GameCube looked better than this. Maybe it's just because of the way that the game is. And this game is fairly fast-paced. You can switch between yourself and the partner character, which is pretty fun. Dashing with X is really enjoyable too. So in this game, characters can also transform. So we're facing off against Kenpachi next. Definitely an experience, this game. Somewhat similar to Blade Battlers, but it reminds me more of the Tenkaichi games, to be honest with you. Okay, so I've activated Bankai finally. I've got to say that the environments are pretty fun to play in. We've got Karakura Town at night here. All of these games are definitely button bashing experiences, I'll give you that. Camera angle went a bit weird though, okay. Can be a lot going on sometimes. It's quite hard to tell what on earth is going on if you've got this many players facing off against each other. Wow, Zomari. This is somebody that you don't see every day. Oh, Grimja's appeared. Shinji's pretty badass. Wow, Nell yells in this game too. This will be my last fight on Bleach vs. Crusade. I think we've got an idea of all of these games at this point. It's much of the same. 3D fighters. All pretty fun games if you're Bleach fans, but what sense are you going to make any of this if you don't know anything about Bleach? There we go. With this being the final entry for the Nintendo Wii, it's much like the other games that we've covered. You will enjoy it if you're a Bleach fan, and prior to Bleach Soul Resurrection releasing on the PS3, this was the best Bleach experience for home consoles, I'm afraid. But because I have played Bleach on the PS3, and I don't really have any nostalgia for Versus Crusade, it does end up being a very average fighting game in the end. After having covered these 3 games, we have spoken about all of the Bleach games on Nintendo home consoles. All 3 of these titles that we played today were 3D fighters, and some were easier to play than others, especially with Shattered Blade relying on the Wiimote controls, which made the game a little bit more difficult to emulate. I surprisingly really enjoyed the GameCube Bleach game, and it was pretty fun to play, especially for a game released back in 2005. It was definitely better than some of the PS2 Bleach games that I had to play. You all are in for quite a surprise today, as I'll be breaking down some Bleach material that I've surprisingly never talked about before. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the impressive Bleach games that were released for the Nintendo DS. If you've been following my channel, then you'll know that I've explored every Bleach game released for consoles like the PS2, PSP, GameCube, Nintendo Wii, and even the PS3. However, the Nintendo DS games have flown under the radar until now. Back in the late 2000s, 4 unique Bleach games were released for the DS, and these games spanned a variety of different genres, from fast-paced 2D fighters to a fully fledged RPG and even a beat-em-up platformer. 3 of these games, Blade of Fate, Dark Souls, Souls and the third Phantom were localized into English, while the fourth and final Bleach game on DS titled Flamebringer remained as a Japanese exclusive title. In this video, I'll be breaking down each of these DS games, exploring how they have held up after all of these years and what made these games special when they first released. You need to stick around until the very end of this video because there is one Bleach DS game that all of you need to play. This game features an all-new original story written by Tite Kubo himself, as well as several game-exclusive characters which he had designed for the game, which you absolutely need to know about. Trust me when I said that there is at least one game in this library of titles that you will want to play. So without further delay, here is my complete breakdown of each of the Bleach games released for the Nintendo DS. So we are beginning with Bleach: The Blade of Fate, which stands out as one of the most memorable titles in the Bleach gaming series, and it's for good reason. This game was released in Japan in early 2006 and it was localized in North America in 2007. Blade of Fate offered Bleach fans a very exciting 2D fighting experience as it captured the intensity of the battles within the anime and the manga. This game was developed by Treasure, a studio that's known for its intricate combat mechanics. Blade of Fate was designed with a deep understanding of what made fighting games work and excel in competitive scenes. I mean, there's so many anime-based games that have a reputation for being surface level and just being glorified fan service, but Blade of Fate went beyond just fan service as it brought a complex fighting system which really did bring a competitive edge to a handheld console like the DS. There's a lot of depth in the gameplay of Blade of Fate as the core mechanics revolve around fast-paced combat, with players being able to perform a wide variety of moves from light to heavy attacks, as well as combining them into combos for more devastating results. The game includes aerial combos as well as dashes which make the battles very dynamic, and the fighting style is reminiscent of established fighting games like Marvel vs Capcom or even Guilty Gear. In Blade of Fate, players can chain together combos and they can switch between air and ground based attacks, which adds a lot of skill to the gameplay. The fighting system of Blade of Fate has a dual plane structure as it allows players to jump between the foreground and the background, and this does help to manage some of the chaos that goes on, especially during 4-player fights. Blade of Fate introduces spiritual pressure as well as spiritual power gauges, both which are critical to maintaining the balance between offense and defense. The spiritual pressure gauge allows players to perform powerful special moves or even to activate Bankai, while the spiritual power gauge functions as a bit of a stamina meter, as players have to manage the spiritual power gauge carefully in order to make sure that their player can still move and fight. The spiritual power gauge depletes every time you use a special move, you dash, or you evade an attack. So this forces players to kind of weigh out their options between being offensive and defensive. And this is really impressive, especially coming from a DS game, as it requires you to use tactics instead of just button bashing. And it most certainly rewards players who have mastered the mechanics of the game. So on the second DS screen, Blade of Fate incorporates a concept called character cards, and you can see this on the second DS screen, as players are able to build a deck of spirit cards which offer buffs or debuffs during the battle. Some of these bonuses include increased attack power or reduced jump height for the opponent, and this adds another layer of strategy to the fights. There is a lot of customization in the game as you have the ability to build a deck of character cards which are tailored specifically to your playing style, balancing out your character's strengths and weaknesses. So if you don't like this character card mechanic, then it can be turned off so you can just go for the straightforward fighting experience, which honestly makes the game even more accessible, especially for casual players. This game has quite a huge roster of playable characters, with 28 characters being unlocked from the very get-go, with even Ichigo Byakuya and even Hollow Ichigo being playable as his own character with his own moveset and fighting style. So each of the characters do have their own different unique fighting style, and these aren't just surface level differences. Characters like Kinpachi play as brute force powerhouses, while Yoruichi is faster and more agile, and a lot of her combat relies on quick strikes and evading the opponent. The story mode in this game faithfully adapts the Soul Society arc, as we see Ichigo attempting to rescue Rukia, so each of the character storylines in the game are altered slightly, and additional episodes can be unlocked after completing the main story. So these extra episodes do offer new perspectives on the main story of Bleach, as players can experience battles from the different perspectives of the characters in the series. So when this game originally released in Japan, players in Japan were able to use the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection to battle other players online. Now, while saying all of this, the game's AI is still really challenging, especially in the higher difficulties, as the AI becomes really aggressive and it punishes players for making simple mistakes, thus forcing you to improve and to learn the mechanics of the game rather than just button bashing. So in addition to the story mode, Blade of Fate also has other modes like arcade, survival, and challenge mode. This gives the title a lot of replayability, as these modes really do help to hone your skills. So this game, as you can see, features amazing 2D sprites with very fluid animations, and all of this gives the combat a unique sense of impact thanks to the developers' attention to detail. I mean, the game just looks really nice, especially for a handheld system. Additionally, the game had quite a cool soundtrack, and it featured voice actors straight from the anime. This game was so good that even pro fighting game players like Justin Wong
Had praised the game for its complexity as well as its balance,
even saying that this game is the best fighting game on the DS. In the end, Bleach Blade of Fate was a hidden gem amongst anime-based games, offering a solid and competitive fighting experience. Its deep mechanics, as well as the variety of characters that you can play as, and the strategic card-based system, makes this game a must-play for Bleach fans as well as fans of fighting games. For a game made back in 2006, this one definitely holds up and it's certainly worth your time, so I highly recommend you go and check it out. Bleach Dark Souls is another 2D fighter which was released back in February 2007 in Japan and in October 2008 in America. This is a follow-up to the prior DS game, and also in Japan is titled Bleach DS Second, so it serves as a direct sequel to Bleach the Blade of Fate. As a follow-up, Bleach Dark Souls refined, expanded, and even polished upon a lot of the great things which were established within Blade of Fate. Like I mentioned, Blade of Fate was one of the greatest 2D fighters on the DS, and Bleach Dark Souls elevated this experience even further, offering deeper gameplay mechanics, more content to sink your teeth into, and even more improvements which catered not only to fans of the series, but to fans of fighting games. Bleach Dark Souls has an increased character roster of 44 playable characters. This includes playable characters like Kisuke Urahara, Ikaku Madarame, and even Kukaku Shiba. Even playable holos were introduced like the Menos Grande, the Grand Fisher, and Shrika. So it's safe to say that there was a lot of variety in the gameplay styles, especially with all of these different characters adding so many different fresh mechanics to the game. I mean, what is amazing is that this game even has Tatsuki as a playable character, and she really does dish out some damage with her hand-to-hand combat skills. And yes, even Kon is playable too. So while Hollow Ichigo has these really impressive sword-based attacks, you have characters like Uryu who rely more on long-ranged attacks. So this wide variety of characters with different playstyles adds a lot of replayability to this game. So this game adds a filler storyline within the story mode, which is set between the events of the Soul Society arc and the Arrancar arc. So this hopefully should keep fans of the anime and the manga engaged, as the story features a mod soul that wants to destroy the Shinigami. So Dark Souls offered multiple objectives, as the story mode or the mission mode wasn't just about one-on-one fights, as there are missions which involve object collection, obstacle dodging, and even trivia-based mini-games, which do offer a bit of a break from the fighting. Bleach Dark Souls reworked the mechanics of the game in order to address a lot of balancing issues which were present in Blade of Fate. For example, characters who previously had an advantage due to being really overpowered were limited, and the auto-guarding feature in Blade of Fate was toned down massively. Also, a reset timer was added between special moves, making it harder to spam powerful attacks, thus making sure that each fight felt different and more strategic than in Blade of Fate. I think in a lot of competitive matches in Blade of Fate, spamming special moves was a big issue. The deck building system which was present in Blade of Fate was also expanded upon in Dark Souls, as players could now construct more complicated decks with different stat boosting effects, allowing for greater customization. Dark Souls had worldwide Wi-Fi battles which allowed people to test their skills competitively online, and the fights were a lot smoother and less prone to lag in comparison to Blade of Fate. In terms of visuals, Dark Souls was a huge step up from Blade of Fate, as the game's 2D sprites were more polished in this game, and a lot of the animations were updated, as there were several new moves for different characters. Also, the addition of Bankai animations were really cool for some of the characters, and once again, like Blade of Fate, Dark Souls had the voice actors from the anime return to voice their respective characters, characters, and additionally all of the sound effects for the different moves like the energy blast and the special attacks sound very satisfying, from the clashing of the swords to the energy blast of special attacks. It's just another great aspect of this game. Bleach Dark Souls has so much content beyond just the story mode, as you can engage in arcade mode, survival mode, time attack mode, and even training modes are available. The Urahara shop also allows players to spend points which are earned in battle in order to unlock additional content like artwork, spirit cards, and even voice clips. What I love about Dark Souls is that it wasn't trying to do anything new. Instead, it refined and expanded upon the incredible formula established by Blade of Fate, as it offered us more characters, more modes, and even deeper mechanics in respects to the fighting style. So this game does strike a great balance between competitive and casual fans, as there's enough depth for fans of the Bleach series to dive into, and for casual fans this is just another excellent 2D fighter which was available for the DS back in the day. This is another must play for fans of Bleach and for fans of fighting games. The third Bleach game released for the Nintendo DS is titled Bleach the Third Phantom, and this came out in June of 2008 for Japan and in September of 2009 for America. Bleach the Third Phantom offers a unique and very ambitious twist to the Bleach games on the DS. So instead of this fast-paced action of the 2D fighters that we had, Third Phantom introduces us to an all-new strategy RPG game. This game also features an all-new storyline and several game-exclusive characters written by Kubo himself. Bleach the Third Phantom allows you to dive into a new story which builds upon what we know from the Bleach manga. Bleach the Third Phantom offers players an opportunity to dive into a new story which adds upon the established lore of the Bleach anime and the manga. This game focuses more on strategy and decision making, as a lot of the fights unfold on this grid-based map as you're seeing on screen, where players command teams of Shinigami to battle enemies in turn-based combat. So characters fall into different categories like speed, power, or technique, and it follows a bit of a triangle-based rock, paper, scissors mechanic for the combat style. Like power-based characters have an upper hand against speed types, but speed types are vulnerable to technique types. So this system does add a lot of depth, as players have to carefully position their characters on the grid, as you have to consider the strengths and weaknesses of both the characters that you control and the opponents that you're going up against. This game does allow you to perform special attacks or to combine the abilities of multiple characters to perform really impressive team-based attacks. Some people have said that this game is a poor clone of Fire Emblem. While I don't think this one is as accessible to casual players, I think this is definitely a game geared towards Bleach fans in particular. The first two Bleach games were at least accessible to fans of fighting games, so you didn't necessarily have to be the most hardcore Bleach fan to get into them, but this one I do believe requires you to have a basic knowledge of the Bleach series, as a lot of the strengths of these characters are based upon the relationships that they have in the Bleach manga. So placing two characters together like Byakuya and Rukia will result in the bond between them powering their characters up. So this is why positioning your characters on this grid makes a huge difference in the attacks that you can dish out against your opponent. So forming teams with characters that have strong bonds is the best way to perform team strikes which can wipe out your opponent in a single turn. This game also has a spiritual pressure system, and the spiritual pressure acts as a measure of a character's energy as well as a resource that needs to be managed carefully. Characters can absorb spiritual pressure from the map, thus enhancing their abilities and allowing them to unleash Bankai. When a character enters Bankai, they gain a massive boost in stats as well as a new set of abilities, but maintaining Bankai drains spiritual energy over time, which adds another layer to the strategic planning that you need to have while playing. So you really need to decide when it's important to activate Bankai for your characters, thus balancing the need for immediate power versus the risk of leaving your characters vulnerable to attack once their energy meter is depleted. So Bleach the Third Phantom on the DS has the highest number of game exclusive characters that a Bleach game has ever had. This game tells a spin-off storyline which was written by Kubo, and the story follows Matsuri and Fujimaru Kudo, two twin Shinigami, and their adoptive father Seigen Suzunami. Seigen Suzunami was the former captain of the 5th Division, presumably before Urahara and even Kiryu Hikifune. In the past, they confront the Arrancar Arturo Plateado, who desires to destroy the Soul Society. Following a final battle against the Arrancar, Seigen and the twins Matsuri and Fujimaru Kudo are suspended in time, and they awaken within the present day, where the Soul Society is very different from the one that they know in the past, as they learn about the betrayal of Aizen. Seigen Tsunami turns against the Soul Society and allies with Aizen when he begins to believe that the Shinigami had orchestrated the death of his sister Konoka Suzunami, and they were behind the fall of his family, the Suzunami clan. Seigen transforms into a monstrous transformation as he becomes a hollow-like creature. The game also features Shio, who is another game exclusive character, as she is a unique spirit who, unlike normal souls, is unaffected by the Konso ritual, so she personally needs to be escorted to the Soul Society. She also suffers from amnesia. Now, the game exclusive Arrancar Arturo Plateado had first appeared in a game on the Nintendo Wii called Bleach Shattered Blade, which was released 2 years before Bleach the Third Phantom. So Arturo being included is super interesting, as it expands upon his previous appearance in Bleach Shattered Blade. In the Third Phantom, his backstory is fleshed out in more detail, as it explores his vendetta against the Soul Society, along with his alliance with Sosuke Aizen. The game reveals that Arturo's first assault on the Soul Society occurred 1,000 years ago, during which he absorbed the spiritual energy of fallen Shinigami in order to grow stronger. He was eventually defeated at the hands of Head Captain Yamamoto by using an artifact known as the Burning Water Mirror. But similar to Matsuri and Fujimaru Kudo, Arturo has found a way to return in the present timeline of Bleach. So a lot of people had some issues with the Third Phantom, saying that it has a lot of lengthy text-based dialogue sequences, which can massively slow down the pacing of the game, especially for people who just want to jump into the action. While the story is really rich and well developed, the heavy focus on the story may not be the most appealing for fans who just want action and don't want to read a lot. But honestly, for fans of Bleach like us, these story sequences do offer a lot of valuable insights into the characters and their relationships, as well as introducing us to new characters and an all-new original story by Kubo. So Third Phantom has a lot of content when it comes to replayability, as there are multiple story paths that you can take depending on what character you choose to play as you can control Fujimaru or Matsuri, as well as numerous different characters, and there are so many different unlockable abilities. The Bleach Tower mode is unlocked after completing the main story, and it does give you additional challenges as well as the chance to fight every playable character in the game. So in summary, the Third Phantom is a very different game from Blade of Fate and Dark Souls. This strategy based game with an all new original story is something very different, and I highly recommend it, especially if you want an all new Bleach story from Kubo, and you've got about 10 hours to kill, as it takes that long to complete the main story of this game. If you're a diehard Bleach fan, this one's a must play for you, but it will require you to have the attention span to stick through loads of text-based dialogue, and this is why I highly recommend for you guys to check out the Third Phantom. Bleach DS 4th Flamebringer was released in August of 2009 for Japan, and unfortunately this game remains as a Japanese exclusive title. Flamebringer is a side-scrolling platform game, and the game offers another shift to the Bleach DS games, as it doesn't build upon the RPG elements from Third Phantom, and it's not a 2D based fighter like Blade of Fate and Dark Souls. Flamebringer instead introduces side-scrolling beat-em-up mechanics to the Bleach DS games, as it offers Bleach fans another new style of gameplay, which brings the intense battles from the manga onto the small screen of the DS. Now, Flamebringer has a mixture of different strengths and weaknesses, which set it apart from the other DS games. This game allows you to control characters like Ichigo as you battle through waves of enemies which range from hollows to Shinigami who have been possessed. This game does definitely have a fast-paced nature, as Ichigo can also activate his Bankai, as well as his Hollow Mask, which he can activate while in his Bankai form. Now, in terms of the story, this game features a game-exclusive storyline where Rukia finds a glowing Zanpakuto called Higanbana, which possesses her and corrupts her Shikai Soruno Shirayuki. The narrative involves Ichigo and the others trying to stop this rogue Zanpakuto. Higanbana, which is a mysterious Zanpakuto, has the ability to possess Shinigami and turn them into enemies. enemies, as Higanbana's control over Rukia offers a pretty interesting non-canon story for the game, which is slightly reminiscent of Bleach Movie 3 Fade to Black. So Flamebringer has a very satisfying combat system which is easy to just pick up and play, as you're able to unleash a variety of special attacks and combos, with each character having their own unique abilities, and again each player plays very differently. Like Yoruichi has hand-to-hand combat skills, but then characters like Ichigo use traditional sword-based attacks, and then again you have Uryu with his long-range attacks with his Quincy bow. Now one issue with Flamebringer is its limited character roster. While Bleach Dark Souls ended up having 40 plus playable characters, Flamebringer reduces this down massively with only 8 playable characters available. Now one character choice was really intriguing, as instead of having adult Byakuya, you're able to play as a young version of Byakuya. This younger version of Byakuya doesn't have heavy hitting moves, so he struggles to play as interestingly as characters like Kinpachi or Mayuri. Now Mayuri is available as a boss to fight against, but he is absent as a playable character, and the same holds true for Kinpachi, who you can fight against as a boss but you cannot play as him, which is very disappointing. Now I wouldn't say pick up Flamebringer if you want a challenge, because a lot of the opponents in this game are super easy to beat, and you can defeat almost anyone without much effort as long as you time your attacks well and use good combos. So yeah, while Ichigo is available with his hollow form in this game, there's no real need to use it because everyone's just really easy to beat. In terms of visuals, Flamebringer does have some really well drawn sprites and really cool environments for the Bleach series, which really capture the aesthetic of the anime, and I really do love how both screens of the DS are utilized for this game. I think the only real reason to check out Flamebringer would be for the unique story with the Rogue Zanpakuto Higanbana, but aside from that, the other 3 Bleach games that I've talked about are way better than this one. It falls short in several areas. While it does have fast-paced action, a really cool character sprites and amazing background visuals, unfortunately the lack of a challenge and the limited playable roster of characters does definitely leave you wanting more from this game, and it's no surprise why Flamebringer wasn't localized into English. So that was my breakdown of the Bleach DS games, from awesome 2D fighters like Blade of Fate and Dark Souls, to the tactical Third Phantom, and lastly the fast-paced action of Flamebringer. I do think that there is a game for everyone here, as each game really did bring something unique to the table, which captured the different aspects of the Bleach series that we all love. Like I've mentioned, I personally love the original story of Third Phantom and the impressive 2D fighters, especially Dark Souls, which builds upon everything that we love from Blade of Fate. If you've not had a chance to check out these games, then I highly recommend giving them a go, and we've now reached the point of the video where I do want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What is your favorite Bleach Nintendo DS game that I've talked about in this video? If there's anything that I've forgotten to mention about these games, then let me know by continuing the discussion in the comments. Once again, thank you for making it to the end of this video, and I cannot wait to see you in my next Bleach Explained video. A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.